Hi, I'm Aanchal Bajwa, and this is my story. From wanting to become a doctor all my young life to actually pursuing engineering and working at a corporate firm, and then eventually leaving it all behind to become a TV presenter, corporate and lifestyle MC, actor, and model has been quite the roller coaster journey of my life. The younger Anshul was underconfident, underweight, shy, nervous, rather awkward. I wasn't doing well academically and I wasn't interested in sports. I was bullied by girls in my class, and the only resolution was to go home and cry to my mother. Every time I was asked to read in front of the class, I would tear up, shiver uncontrollably, and almost pee my pants. I was just afraid of people and putting myself in front of people. Losing my dad to cancer at the age of 6.5 had thrown me into a strange void where I lost myself and my strength completely. Meanwhile, as years grew by, something within me kept changing a little by little every passing day. One day, my mom dropped me to a pool right next to our house, and I taught myself to swim within a few weeks. Within a few months, I was competing at the state level. After I failed a subject in class 6, I wanted to do better academically. So I started making an effort in that department, eventually rose to the top 3 positions in my class. I randomly picked up martial arts in school, eventually representing my state at the national championships. Meanwhile, thanks to an embarrassing lecture from my housemaster about bunking all my races in school, I decided I was going to start running. And the only agenda at the point was participation. The next thing I knew that I was already winning all the races in school, the best athlete trophy. By class 10th, I had already become a national swimmer, an athlete, a martial arts player, and simultaneously topping my classes, excelling at theatre, oration, and arts. I was traveling most of my school years, getting featured in newspapers, winning laurels for my school, and stayed frequently. I was now a celebrity in school. Teachers, parents, everyone looked up to me. It was a very fulfilling life indeed. I managed to tap into that unexplored potential more and more each passing day. I realized the key to life was if I put my mind to something well enough, it came with beautiful results. So all this while I wanted to be a doctor, right? Or at least I thought I did. Probably a cardiac surgeon, I'd imagine. Especially because my parents, relatives, everybody around me thought that was the best for me. Till it came the time to enter myself in class 11th. My own biology teachers told me, Aanchal, don't do it. You won't like it, this is not the life for you, you'll be buried in a book for the rest of your life. And somehow that just managed to scare me enough to not want to take medical within a fraction of minutes. So I didn't. I decided, okay, so I can't be a doctor. What else could I be? Okay, an engineer. Because a doctor and an engineer are the 2 open possibilities I thought existed, given the influence of my family. So yeah, I picked up engineering just like that, within moments. And I did become an engineer. I started pursuing engineering in information technology at UIT, an engineering college from Punjab University. I'd also started hosting quite a few shows in college and around the university campus, solely pursuing it as a hobby. So even though I scored well in college, around in the second year, a sense of sadness was starting to kick in. I lived a very fulfilling life in school, and college did not even come close to it. It was really depressing. I wasn't exploring any potential anymore. Life had become so stagnant, so dull. I knew I was meant for something else. I knew there was something else bigger and better in store for me. A tiny part of me wanted to pursue the field of media, but since I'd already committed to an engineering degree, I didn't think it was a reasonable choice to drop it and pursue something that could just turn out to be a temporary infatuation. Like, what if? So I finished my 4 years of engineering, decided I'd figure out later. 3 years later, I graduated in first division with honors, had a job offers from KPMG, New Sigma, Infosys, all of that. So I thought, okay, let's join KPMG Gurgaon. It's a 9-to-5 job. I'll figure everything I have to do once I come back home from work. So turns out, working at KPMG as a business analyst in Gurgaon for 3 years was ideal on paper. Everything seemed perfect. I had a perfect job, I had a social circle, I was going to London every year, a company-sponsored trip. It just sounded like an ideal life, right? It sounded perfect. But the truth was, I was unhappy. Every day of my life, in the most perfect moments, there was a sense of uneasiness, lack of contentment I couldn't shake off. There were many days when I just came back home from a long, exhausting day at work and just break down, crying, feeling empty, unfulfilled, and extremely anxious. It only kept getting worse day by day. And a part of me knew subconsciously that what I had to do, but consciously I did not have the courage to take the steps forward. The job I took hoping would give me enough time outside of work to figure everything out just sucked the very life force out of me. Took all the creative juices out of my system. Just the idea of sitting in front of a computer for 8 hours a day, every day, hating Mondays, desperately looking forward to weekends, was just something that I knew was not me. It wasn't the life I wanted for myself. I wanted to align my passion with the source of income. And unlike I was told, I didn't want to believe that it was two different things. But as we know, it takes courage to pursue happiness. Courage I did not have yet. It was only my bosses in London started to give me a really hard time. I was subjected to a lot of unfair, unethical behavior, which went beyond my work to my personal appearance and choices. It did make me angry, but I also realized that I didn't care enough about raising any concerns with the HR or changing teams. I just had to say goodbye. It was time to shut this chapter. So I did. I put my papers down finally to enter into this unknown, undiscovered abyss. All I knew for sure was that I had to be out of this ecosystem to figure out what I really wanted, to finally start pursuing happiness. After already having served a month of notice period, so that she wouldn't even try to make me change my mind. I had to make sure it was too late to tell her. All these years, I kept the knowledge of my unhappiness away from her. And when she found out, surprisingly, she only felt unhappy about why I didn't tell her that I wasn't happy, that I was so anxious. And honestly, I did not see it coming. I should have given my mother enough credit. I forgot the backbone that she's always been for me. So thank you, Mom. She was 100% on board with me, and she wanted me to pursue my happiness, whatever and wherever it came from. So I was obviously aware that life wasn't going to be easy after this decision. I prepared for a very tough road ahead. The next 1 year was probably the hardest year of my life, especially harder than what I'd imagined it to be. It was full of new experiences, experiments, and obviously disappointments. I participated in several pageants, even won Miss India Universe title from Chandigarh in 2016. There was another pageant through which I won an opportunity to host a show with AXN called Fitness Factor. So I was like, wow, this is perfect. I was supposed to move to Mumbai and host a show. This is something I always wanted to do. This event agency I had gotten the show through suddenly disappeared on me. Stopped replying to my texts, didn't take my calls. So I knew it was over. And bam, entered another abyss all over again. This time a much darker and depressing one. It was my rock bottom. It felt like everything I'd worked towards, sacrificed my degree, my job, my life, came crashing down on me and gave me a hard slap on my face. I slept on hours and days at end and didn't want to face my reality. The lack of regular income, dependency on my family for money was something that especially hit me the hardest. I miss my dad the most. Even though I lost him 20 years ago, I think his death suddenly became the most impossible thing to deal with at that point. So I just cried, hiding in silence, make sure my mom couldn't see me cry. I felt that seeing me break would break her too. And I wanted to be strong for her so that she wouldn't worry for me. So instead of therapy, I asked her for a rabbit, knowing that I would probably leave for Mumbai at some point and it'd be easier for mom to take care of a rabbit than a dog. The next 2 months of therapy was mothering that rabbit. I even received a confirmed job offer from a corporate firm in Mumbai at the point, very randomly through Naukri. They were willing to pay me more than I even asked for. Everyone in my life suggested, Aanchal, take it. Work there for some time, save money, quit, and then start what you want to do. But you know what my mother told me? She told me I should choose what makes me happy. She wanted me to be accountable for my own decisions and not blame it on people or circumstances. So not only did I turn the job offer down, I booked my tickets for Bombay, dated 2 weeks later. I had not lived in Mumbai since I left it as a kid, 5 years of age. My mom thought I would go for a few days and probably come back. That was 4.5 years ago. And Mumbai has been home ever since. I got a job in the events team at a restaurant within 2 days of moving to the city. And meanwhile, my anchoring career picked up simultaneously. Everything fell into place one by one. I started pursuing anchoring full-time. I even called off my 2-year-long distance relationship because I knew moving from Mumbai wasn't an option. This was the city for me. I started acting TV commercials, even worked as a model, My actual life had only just begun. The world was finally my oyster. Life was the stage I always wanted it to be. From knowing zero people in Mumbai to finally having friends like family. My professional journey has been one of the best journeys of my life, professionally, spiritually, and even financially. Today, I've anchored for Star Sports, I've anchored for Colors Infinity, I've done music events, I've done corporate events, I've done fashion events, I've acted in ads alongside some superstars. It's actually perfect. And my work has become my prime source of joy other than any other vacation or anything else. Every time I'm at an event, my objective isn't to wrap up and finish what I started, but instead to cherish every moment there is. Be authentic, connect with people, have insightful, meaningful conversations, and just have fun. I learned when we do something we truly love, we are completely aware and present in the moment as we do it. And that's the only reason people find great success when they're passionate about what they do. It's not just coincidence. By just doing your thing, not single-handedly focusing on being successful, on how much money you want to make, or just focusing on the final destination, just enjoying the present, moment by moment, enjoying the journey is what success is all about. Once we align our actions with a life full of presence, purpose, and awareness, there is no fear, there's no anxiety, no unhappiness, and absolutely nothing that can pull you down. Let adversity be your biggest strength, because from it comes tremendous growth. I wouldn't have been on this path or be this person if I hadn't gone through the rough times that I did. Losing my father at an early age could have been an excuse for a miserable me today. But instead, it made me stronger, made me wiser, and it has helped me understand the impermanence of life. For a girl who was bullied by her classmates back in school, instead of just breaking down, I learned how to stand up for myself, became confident in my skin. From failing in class, I became a topper. From being a weak, anorexic girl with no appetite, I taught myself to swim, run, and eventually become a national athlete, swimmer, and a martial arts player. From a shy, awkward, nervous girl who would shiver, tear up, and almost pee her pants at the idea of just speaking in front of the class, I became someone who was passionate about speaking in front of people. For life, I manifested my own reality, literally turned my weaknesses into my strengths, and came onto the other side, undefeated. We don't realize how our mental health is directly affected by what we do on a day-to-day basis. The food we eat, the people we hang out with, the hobbies we have, the amount of sleep we get, and most importantly, the work we do. It's very important that we pick a line of work that aligns with our happiness and our purpose. What we do for a living is one of the most important aspects of our life, so why compromise it with the expectations the society has of you? If you can't do anything in a state of absolute joy or acceptance, why do it at all? Love and respect yourself enough to find what makes you happy. Work towards your own happiness and become the person you want to become, because nobody else in the world can do it for you. Don't worry about what parents, relatives, teachers, friends, or what even your neighbors might think of you. This pandemic has only taught us the value of finding a happiness and peace within. It helps us survive the roughest of times. And most importantly, don't take life too seriously. Remember the child in you who was not afraid of falling. Because even if you did, you would just get up and start running again, won't you?